That sounds like a bad accident, Joan, on 65.
Yeah, it sure does.
So how many lanes are blocked? Is there three?
Three
Like
left
people
lanes.
are hitting us up on the super text line.
3 left lanes, 65 northbound before Concord Road. 3 left lanes blocked off by it. They're saying up to 6 vehicles. I'm going to see if I can get a camera on that bad boy. And
yeah, I mean, that is the absolute wrong place for an accident to happen this time of the morning. So we'll have another update coming up at 6:15. But, Joan, feel free to break in if we end up finding out more information on that, if they have to, close the roadway entirely and so forth. But
I am seeing on the cameras that traffic is getting around it on the right side. There's just one lane on the right side that's kind of squeaking around it. Mm-hmm. Very slow and very backed up this morning. It's dark, so I really can't see a whole lot. Just a lot of flashing lights, a lot of cars. And, of course, on the other side, on 65 southbound, brake lights everywhere. Of course, everybody's got to look at what's happening on the other side of the road. So,
you know what we call those?
Looky-loos.
Rubberneckers.
Rubberneckers,
looky-loos.
Yeah. All of that.
Frustrating people that, for whatever reason, need to slow down to look at the car crash or the train wreck, which is what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. So let's talk about the shutdown real quick. We're now at, day 35, right? So day 35, if we hit tomorrow, then it'll be day 36. John Thune from the Republicans in the Senate, majority leader in the Senate, he is out there saying that he predicts that they will actually come up with some sort of a solution or an agreement later on this week. I think we all are of the opinion here on Nashville's Morning News that ultimately we will end up setting the record, which is 36 days. That is going to be tomorrow. So we tied the record today. Tomorrow, it'll be 36 days. And we'll see when this whole thing wraps up. But, one of the things that I thought was interesting, what I believe is interesting as we look at all of this, is that, you do have some on the Republican side accusing the Republicans of lying about this whole thing. And so clearly, I don't believe that the Republicans are lying. But one of the things Republicans are saying, though, is that the media is on the side of the Democrats on this and are not pushing back on their lies. Well, there was one Democrat, her name is Janelle Bynum, where she was accusing the Republicans of having a poison pill in the clean CR, the continuing resolution. And so the anchor on C-SPAN actually asked her the question, okay, what exactly is the poison pill? And she can't name it. Listen to this.
Well, look, I just got here. I don't play politics. I want a clean bill that focuses on the American people, that makes sure kids have a full belly, and, all of the clean this, clean that. Americans don't understand that. They know if they have their benefits or not. So put a bill on the table, make sure it's very pure and clean, as they like to say, and it doesn't have a whole lot of fluff in it. I'm not here for games. I just want to make sure kids get fed.
So, number one, Janelle, it is not ultimately the taxpayer's job to feed children around the country when their parents can't do it. I mean, we will obviously step up and help feed the children. But ultimately, number one, just listening to her comments, it's almost like it is, I don't like this concept of it takes a village. Yes, we'll step in when we need to. But there's a great meme out there today. And the meme is guy, checking his cell phone, and he says, America is the only nation in the world where, you can check your EBT benefits, your SNAP benefits on your $1,400 cell phone, right? I mean, that is ultimately what's going on. Nobody wants to see children go hungry. But the way that Janelle Bynum speaks, it's sort of like, okay, so it is America's responsibility to feed everybody's children across the world, across the country. My thing is, again, if the parents fall short, then we will obviously step up. But to talk about this like the parents have absolutely no responsibility at all in feeding their own children, I take exception to that. Parents do need to step up. If you're on EBT, if you're on SNAP benefits and you're not working, just think about how much money you could make if you go to Home Depot. You learn how to, fix air conditioners or, you name the skilled trade. They need them. and you can make a heck of a lot more money than you're making on SNAP benefits right now.
They did have a clean CR vote on September 19th in the House. Did you vote for it?
I disagree with your characterization and want to make sure that we're very clear about what Republicans have been doing. Any bill that they've put forth, they've always had some extra stuff to it. There's always been a poison pill to it. So I disagree with your characterization.
All right, now listen close, right? Because the host on C-SPAN actually is trying to push her. Okay, Janelle, you are saying that there was a poison pill in the continuing resolution. What is that poison pill?
What were the poison pills of the clean CR or the continuing resolution? You say it's not clean, that was voted on in the House in mid-September.
What will she be able to come up with it? What is the continuing resolution? What was the poison pill in there? Because I'm telling you right now, friends, it was clean.
Here's what's important. I think what you're trying to do is shift the responsibility to Democrats. Speaker Johnson.
Nope. All the anchor was asking, you mentioned the poison pill. What was the poison pill? You said, Janelle, she is on C-SPAN. And I'm assuming that there were a whole bunch of other interviews that she did. And you would think that if there was a poison pill, I'm going to air quote this, a poison pill, she would actually be able to tell folks what that poison pill was. In other words, if you're going on TV, you better be able to back up your talking points with some truth. And clearly she had no truth.
Controls the House. He should come back, pull Republicans off of vacation, and make sure that we have discussions on what the country needs. We know children need to be fed. Anything else is passing the buck and is playing politics.
So there you go. Has no idea what this poison pill was. That's, again, this Janelle Bynum. The Senate has voted on this thing, I guess 14 times. I saw 13 times earlier today, but it's apparently 14 times. Democrats still refuse to allow SNAP recipients to get those benefits and fund the military and fund air traffic controllers. We had massive delays out of Texas last night, apparently, due to staffing levels. We had some issues here in Nashville as well. Now, of all people, Charlemagne, remember what I said earlier in the broadcast? I'm using this, by the way, as a joke. Whenever you've lost, whether it's Jake Tapper, whether you've lost Charlemagne, then you've lost America. It's kind of a joke on the whole thing. But Charlemagne actually now is coming out swinging against the Democrats on all of this. So Charlemagne, now if you don't know who Charlemagne is, he is known as Charlemagne the God. I refuse to put the God behind his name. So Charlemagne,
Thank you.
Yes, Charlemagne is a hip hop DJ out of New York, and he is syndicated. And they do talk about political stuff. And I will give this to Charlemagne, is that he is willing to give it to the Democrats, kind of like Bill Maher, where he's willing to call out the Democrats if he feels like they are doing wrong. I've only got audio on this, but this is Charlemagne and what he said. I believe it was yesterday. Listen.
Democrats, you fought. It seemed like you lost the fight. At this point, go and give it up. At least give the people some relief by getting the government back open. Let these people get these SNAP benefits. Let these government workers get their checks. We don't need all of this craziness at the TSA during the holidays. I think you lost.
We'll continue to watch.
I feel like they lost. It's over.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It depends on what you're fighting for.
Seems like a pride thing now.
Well, listen, if here's what I would say is that if you've got the unions, because remember, the unions came out and the unions said that Democrats, you've got to get this thing done. We've got to get back to work. There were 5 or 6 different unions, if I'm not mistaken, who came out and came out against the Democrats. And so Charlemagne himself. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on with Bill Maher the other day. People are saying that she is throwing Republicans under the bus. I don't know if she is or not. But she has kind of struck her own chord on the whole Obamacare thing. It is her contention that Republicans need to do more to try to fix it. And she's throwing Mike Johnson, House Speaker Mike Johnson, right under the bus. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene on with Bill Maher. And I'm going to also tell you, I'm incredibly surprised at how ignorant how ignorant Bill Maher sounds on this whole thing. So this is Marjorie Taylor Greene on with Bill Maher, and Republicans are kind of mad at her. Listen.
That's been a lot of my angst. So a lot of the things I say are against my own party, but they're mainly my frustrations in Congress. I believe that Congress should be solving a lot of these problems. However, Congress is not solving these problems. And I have Republican leadership. You know, looking at Obamacare, it was passed in 2010. It went into place in 2014, and premiums have skyrocketed ever since. It was good for some that couldn't afford health insurance or couldn't get health insurance. But for the middle class, small business owners, people that had to buy their own insurance, it has crushed them. And so I've been demanding
Obamacare has crushed them?
I love how Bill Maher, did you hear that, Joan? I love how Bill Maher is just, really? Obamacare has crushed the middle class? Yeah, Bill.
Clearly, it doesn't affect him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How out of touch can you be? It's very expensive. I mean, it does help the very poor. It does screw the middle class. I mean, that is just there is no disputing that fact. And so now Republicans have been trying to, I'm going to air quote this, repeal and replace Obamacare. They never got it done. Remember John McCain and the whole thumbs down back in, was it 2017? I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
That was all over the changes that Republicans voted for and passed in the House. But then you had John McCain, the senator. He wouldn't pass it in the Senate. And he just rolls in. Remember that whole thing? He rolls in and voted no, gave the thumbs down, siding with Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. But, Republicans have tried many, many times to repeal Obamacare, but the dysfunction in Congress, it just never happened. Now, this is where I bump Trump a little bit. Trump has promised a replacement program for Obamacare forever, but it just never happened. The Republicans, this is what I will say. They have tried to change, repeal, replace Obamacare. They just can't seem to get on the same page. But, for me, so Marjorie Taylor Greene is right in that sense, but the Republicans have tried in the House of Representatives. They have voted dozens, and I mean dozens of times over the years to change Obamacare. Just, again, they could never get their crap together. But for Bill Maher to be surprised by all this, he clearly is just not paying attention.
Obamacare is what's hurt them?
Yeah. I'll tell you, for example, when Obamacare went into place, it took my own family of 5 health insurance policy from $800 a month to over $2,400 a month, more than our mortgage payment. And that's what so many people have experienced over all these years. But here's the big problem, is it's about to skyrocket in January of 2025. Here's why I'm angry. The Democrats passed Obamacare, but yet the Republicans have never done anything to correct the problems that exist with it. And I blame my own party. That's absolutely wrong. And I don't think it's an easy thing to fix. However, it's something that we should have a plan for. And Mike Johnson, for a month now, cannot give me a single policy idea, and I'm angry about that.
So there you go. She does throw Johnson under the bus, and he's trying to, Mike Johnson is trying to get this thing back on the tracks, and she goes into in I would say, the enemy camp and launches a grenade against him. So the Republicans, sadly, they don't have a plan to repeal and replace. They've never been able to get that far because I think Obamacare at this point is just too entrenched. But they can try and fix it. And by the way, Donald Trump has said that. Donald Trump has literally said that I want to try to fix Obamacare. And he wants to try to fix it and frankly, make it better. So Maher then, because again, I'm dinging Bill Maher because he has absolutely no idea that Obamacare is so bad, right? So then he turns to a leftist podcaster named Michael Moynihan. And shockingly, he agrees with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Is this your understanding of Obamacare, that it raises?
I have to first start by saying I didn't suspect that I would come on and say I agree with Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I do on that. I do on this issue because I mean, the first thing is the prices are out of control. We're talking about these subsidies that were COVID-era subsidies. They were renewed, and the entire shutdown is based on these subsidies.
That is what the shutdown is based on.
That's what it's based on.
For people who don't know, let me just say, during COVID, they upped the subsidies, and then it is a bit of a bait and switch. I'll give you, it's true on that one. You can't say, it's not quite kosher to say, we're just doing this for the COVID emergency, and then when the emergency's over, say, oh no, it's forever.
They are temporary subsidies.
At least be honest about it.
Be honest about it. But the thing about it is that these subsidies, they don't do anything to lower costs. I mean, the only thing they do is mask costs, right?
See, that's what we've been saying all along. The problem is that I'm sorry. I don't know why I said COVID. The problem is that Obamacare is broken. That's the problem. These subsidies were put in during the COVID time frame. And so now that COVID obviously is over, it's time for those subsidies to go away. The point that the podcaster was making is that we have a problem in this country with Obamacare. It is broken. And ultimately what we're doing is we're sort of masking the symptoms of Obamacare, which is it's really expensive. And so to subsidize it, all we're doing is we're masking, the symptoms instead of taking care of the disease, frankly, which is Obamacare, that is incredibly broken. It is incredibly expensive. And it's great if you're, really, really poor. But if you're trying to buy it for yourself and your family and you're middle class, lower middle class, it is really expensive. That's why they need to go in. They need to do whatever they can do to try and fix it. But for the Republicans and the Democrats, if the Republicans go in and say, yeah, we want to try to fix Obamacare, then you have, of course, all of the insanity that ensues, where you've got all of these people that are out there and they're saying, oh, the Republicans are going to try to take away our health care, which is not actually the case. So anyway, I don't know. From Bill Maher to this Janelle Bynum and some of these other Democrats who can't even talk about or really express their problem with what the Republicans are trying to do. By the way, Joan, did you ever watch that show Cops?
Oh.
Bad Boys, what you going to do?
So my parents loved Cops, and it was one of those things, and it was in their retirement that they started watching it so much. Mm-hmm. And if you spoke or if you wanted to have a conversation, you had to wait until the commercial was over. Until the commercial started. Yeah. Because they did not want for their cops to be interrupted. Oh, it was funny.
So we've got a guy coming on by the name of Randy Sutton in the 7 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
And he is one of the cops that was featured, if you will, on the show. So he was out there, busting heads and arresting bad guys.
Nice.
And he was one of the cops that was on the show all the time. Now, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, I wasn't a big watcher of Cops. I mean, I've got enough train wreckery in my own life. I don't need to see other people's train wrecks.
Right.
But I love that Randy Sutton, he now has an organization. And I love the organization because it's called the Wounded Blue. And so what they do is they help police officers who have been injured on the job. And so he's going to be here in studio. And we're going to talk about, all kinds of law enforcement kind of stuff. And they've got a huge benefit that is coming up this week on November 5th. I guess that's tomorrow, isn't it? So a big benefit tomorrow. You know who's going to be there at this benefit?
Who?
Number one, my buddy Daryl Worley, Vince Gill, a whole bunch of other folks as well, Chad Brock, Buddy Jewell is going to be there. And so it's all to benefit a night for the Wounded Blue. So I can't wait to talk Law and Order with Randy Sutton.
Nice.
On, of the show. I'm going to ask him, about cops and just how he felt about the controversy. Because remember when cops first came on board, people said that it was, I don't know what, racist and controversial and all this.
Oh, yeah.
I never really understood all of that. It's like, guy, this is real life. And there were, black folks busted. There were white folks busted. They had white cops. They had black cops. They had Hispanic cops busting white people. So I didn't really understand the whole, it's racist. But, these days everything is racist. And back then, I don't even remember what day, what year cops started. Do you remember what year that was?
I don't. We could look it up. And see.
I mean, it was a long time ago, and that thing has been a juggernaut. Is it still on the air? I don't even know.
I think it got resurrected. Yeah, it did.
March 11th, 1989.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Wow.
Okay. Well, anyway, can't wait to speak to Randy Sutton about all things law and order coming, because there's, we haven't touched on it today, but yesterday we spoke about, the situation with ICE, where now you have these crazed lunatics that are out there, grabbing the genitalia of ICE officers. We talked about that. And so it's going to be a good conversation. Looking forward to that coming up after the news at 7. Shocking polls shows many Americans expect more political violence. I don't know why that's shocking, though. That's the headline. Shocking poll shows many Americans expect more political violence. I don't find that shocking at all. So we've heard the Democrats call this particular shutdown the Trump shutdown, the Trump-Johnson shutdown. We, as conservatives, have been accused of weaponizing or politicizing hunger and all of that stuff. Well, now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is calling the Republicans, I want you to wait for it now, a pedophile protection program. That is what Hakeem Jeffries is calling the Republicans.
Well, the Trump administration and Mike Johnson are running a pedophile protection program. That's what they've been doing. And that's the reason why they refused to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. For weeks now, she was elected in late September decisively. And Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva still hasn't been sworn in because she'll become the 218th vote on an up or down piece of legislation that will require the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. And yet week after week after week have gone by, and Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva is unable to serve 800,000 plus people in the state of Arizona.
You know what's so funny about this audio bite, Joan? Is that I've got this on video. Is that I had to make, I think, at least 7 or 8 edits in here just to make it quick, because Hakeem Jeffries is always like trying to think of what he's supposed to say. You know, he's got that very halting kind of, phrasing that he does.
Because he wants to try to be like his hero Obama. Yeah.
So I had to edit this whole thing together just for I shaved like 15 seconds off of it, as a matter of fact, because people are like, why in the world are there so many edits in this? There's so many edits in it because he was failing to make a point in a timely manner. And the host is very impatient when it comes to things like that. Anyway, here's more from Hakeem.
All because of the pedophile protection program.
So that's right. So that's the new mantra. That's the new talking point. The pedophile protection program. So this is now what they're. Remember, I said that I think the Democrats are starting to panic. I think they're pulling out these crazy accusations or sayings, trying to brand. You try to brand your opponent, and so now the Republicans are the pedophile protection, whatever it is,
being run by Mike Johnson and House Republicans at the direction of their boss, Donald J. Trump.
Dun, dun, dun. Whatever.
Tried to have such a mic drop moment with the way he ended that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's silly. And now, number one, to put everything in context, this woman won a special election in the Tucson area of Arizona back in late September. Johnson has not sworn her in. He says he'll swear her in during regular session, which they are not in right now. As Jeffrey said, her signature would be, and this is true, would be the deciding vote on whether or not to force the House vote on a bill to release files related to the Epstein case. The Republicans, as you know, have said that they will release the files responsibly with the proper redactions to protect the victims and those falsely accused. But apparently that takes time. Now, just so we're clear, I want the Epstein files released. I've been honest about that, but I do want it done responsibly. So now you've got Hakeem Jeffries calling the Republicans the pedophile protection unit or whatever it was. Just very silly. But I think that you put you put what he is saying about Republicans, and you've got, all of the names that Republicans have been called over the past, 8-9 years, whatever it's been since Donald Trump started running the first time. We have audio of Nancy Pelosi. I'll play that here in a little bit, where Nancy Pelosi is out there saying, Donald Trump is a vile creature. I mean, I'm just starting to wonder if the Democrats, the harsher the criticism and the worse the names, does that show that the Democrats are really starting to panic even more? What were you going to say, Sam? I saw your mic was on.
You were, he's trying to make this whole, it's a pedophile protection ring thing. And obviously people do want the Epstein files released.
Yeah.
And I was getting into it with someone the other day about it. And people have severe memory loss when it comes to just the short term. It's District Judge Richard Berman was the last person who blocked the release of key grand jury materials, and he explicitly stated that it was not that the DOJ failed to overcome longstanding grand jury secrecy rules. So how are the Republicans protecting anybody in the pedophile circles? It sounds like a Clinton appointed judge is doing that on his own.
There you go. And the Democrats will say, well, if the House votes to demand the Justice Department release those files, but here's the thing, is that the Justice Department is under no mandate to release the files. They can simply say, well, we don't want to because of X, Y, and Z. So this whole thing is, for the Republicans, they want to release them in due time, as they say, responsibly. And so this is just another, I would say a talking point for the Democrats as they try to do everything they can do to distract the American people from the fact that they are keeping the government closed. So you have Hakeem Jeffries calling Republicans the pedophile protection unit or whatever it is. And now you've got Nancy Pelosi calling Donald Trump a vile creature. That's right, a vile creature. And the worst thing in the world today, listen.
It's just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth. But anyway.
The worst thing on the face of the earth. Now, I want you to think about all of the worst things on the face of this earth. You've got, Hitler. You've got Pol Pot. You've got drug lords, right? You've got the drug lords that want to kill the leaders of ICE, and of course they want them doxxed and all of that kind of thing. You've got child molesters. You've got murderers. You've got all of these really bad people that are out there. And yet Nancy Pelosi believes that Donald Trump is the worst thing on earth.
It's just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth. But anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah. I do.
Why is that?
Because he's the President of the United States and he does not honor the Constitution of the United States. In fact, he's turned the Supreme Court into a rogue court. He's abolished the House of Representatives.
We had some fun with that earlier. What does it mean when Nancy Pelosi says that Donald Trump has abolished the House of Representatives? I have no idea what she means by that.
I think she means abolish their ability to launder money through the government into their own pockets.
Is that what it is?
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, you'll notice that Nancy Pelosi, she's going to be able to comfortably retire. If she ends up retiring, we'll have to see what happens.
You think she'll spend her $400 million before she croaks? Because I doubt it.
I don't know. Well, I don't want to say what I'm going to say.
She's going to buy a freezer full of ice cream for her.
That's what she's going to do.
After death. Yeah.
Moving right along. By the way, Nancy Pelosi, she's also wrong in the fact that the Supreme Court has actually ruled against Donald Trump several times. As a matter of fact, they ruled against Trump on using the Alien Enemies Act for deportations, the military transgender ban, and foreign aid funding cuts. And we got a big one in front of the Supreme Court this week, actually, with the tariffs. So the Supreme Court has actually, Nance, ruled against Donald Trump. So it is becoming clear that the Democrats may be panicking because their rhetoric does seem to be getting worse and worse. Pelosi calling Trump that vile creature, the worst thing on planet Earth, despite the fact that we've got child molesters and murderers and the drug cartels and the rest of them. There is a poll out that shows that a significant number of young Americans believe that there are cases where political violence is actually acceptable. That is according to a troubling survey released Monday by Politico. More than a third of Americans under the age of 45 agreed that political violence can be justified in certain cases. They took a look at the entirety of the American population, where 24% believe that political violence is justified. They also claim that there was little partisan divide in the question, but did not release the details of the study. Do you really believe, here's my question, do you really believe that Republicans believe that political violence is okay? Now, I want to do an anonymous poll. Here, let's, Sam, let's do a quick Daily Dan poll. If you're a conservative, do you believe that political violence is ever justified? Now, we know that the Democrats talk about the assassination culture and all of that they have engaged in or approved of over the years. Remember that whole thing, assassination culture, where right after that, right, we saw the murder of the United Healthcare executive, Brian Thompson. You had Trump's assassination attempts. You, of course, did have the murder of Charlie Kirk. You had all of the threats against Elon Musk. So this polling is consistent with the left's assassination culture that we have talked about many times.